DJA TV.
How's everything? Very good, very good.
Okay, Mr. Shu,
Yes.
please can you kindly share your thoughts with us about illicit flow of funds, cross-border corruption, and so on and so forth, given your many years of experience as a journalist?
Yes. What is obvious is that the outflow of illicit financial resources out of Nigeria has not stopped. It may have changed strategy, or it may have changed name, but it has not stopped. It's just a matter of one party outdoing the other in terms of strategies. And I've done this for 12 years. So I know when money is moving, I know where money is hidden, and I know how these transactions are carried out. That was why I was saying right there that on the internet I've been a special counsel fighting corruption all by myself for the last 12 years. But what is obvious is that we haven't learned our lessons yet to understand that our solution is not going to come from the outside. Because even in those Western countries where people are talking about corruption, what they do is to prevent corruption from happening, because it's more costly, more expensive to recover monies that have been stolen. When you give people the latitude and the laxity to steal as much as they steal in Nigeria, they get the best lawyers. And it's not only here alone, they get the best lawyers in the US, they get them in the UK, they get them everywhere. So it doesn't stop. But if you want to put an end to our misery in terms of corruption of the scale that takes place on the international scene, you need to really find leaders, not only leaders who are not corrupt, but who understand how the financial system, the complex financial systems work around the world, as to prevent this country from bleeding any further. That is what I'm saying.
Thank you very much. But I would like to ask you again, given the fact that many people think there is a new government in place, would you say there have been some improvement in corruption?
Do you refer to the government that has been around for 3 years as a new government? There's nothing new about them, and they haven't improved in fighting corruption. We have said that openly. You cannot be fighting corruption and you see somebody is corrupt in the People's Democratic Party. People like Akpabio, and when they join the APC, they become saints. Or someone like Oji Uzor is on trial under People's Democratic Party, and then when he joins the APC, he gets the chance to go to hospital and claim that he's undergoing surgery that will need about 12 weeks of rest or recuperation. That's nonsense. And nobody is fooled by all of this rhetoric about fighting corruption. There's nobody fighting corruption around here. People are just using corruption to fight, for themselves.
Now, I want to ask, what role do you think the international communities are playing as far as illicit funds transferred abroad is concerned? Do you think they are doing enough to support them?
Until you start punishing the banks that are serving as conduits for transferring money abroad, until you start naming them, shaming them, fining them, jailing their corrupt officials, as they do in the Western world. If you steal $50,000 in the US, okay, let me give you an example. For Halliburton case of 180 million bribery that took place in Nigeria, the US made over $6 billion from fines imposed on these characters that were involved. They jailed people, and Nigeria was only able to make $25 million because they declared Dick Cheney wanted, the former vice president of the US. At the moment the money came, the lawyers hired by the federal government took the money away. Today you cannot explain what happened to the money that they got from Halliburton by just declaring Dick Cheney wanted. So that's what we are talking about. There are people here who don't even understand how the world is working, and who don't understand that you can actually use this crime that has been committed, if you do it very well, to fight against everybody that is involved, including international actors. who have been involved, because there's a trail when money moves, the volume of money that's moved out of Nigeria, there's a paper trail for it. And we need also forensic investigators at home. But the point I'm making is that you have to close the tap. Until you close the tap, you probably will be wasting your resources running after monies that had been stolen already. And another thing is the hypocrisy about how we recover money. Abacha is dead. We are after every penny he stole. Babangida is still around. You go and work, you go and visit him whenever you want to run for office. Oba Obasanjo is still around. All the thieves who are still alive, you are not doing anything about them. But you are going after the one who died. And that means if we had tried to recover from the ones alive, probably would have recovered even more money from them than we recover from the guy who died some almost 20 years ago.
On the final note, sir, I just want to ask, now you're a presidential candidate.
Yes.
What will you do differently when you get to power, as far as corruption is concerned?
You know, I'm surrounded by all these APC people here. If I reveal my strategies, they will steal it. But honestly, the most important thing is to prevent people from stealing, and we know how to do it. And a lot of ways to do it includes, digitalizing how we carry out transactions. There's no point anymore paying salaries through, buckets of water. There's no point anymore, not using. And there's no reason why we are not using blockchain technology, for example, to ensure that our process of contracting is transparent. There's e-contracting these days that can be done. There's a lot of ways, even to cut down on the number of ghost workers in the country, which I heard is about 25% of our workforce. You can just put fingerprint scanners at the door of every ministry. You can put a retina scanner in the front of everybody's office, so that everybody who is entering and getting out of these offices are people who are alive, recognizable. At the end of the month, you use that data to pay their salaries. That way you don't lose any money unnecessarily. But when you expose your process and system to thieves, and you make it possible for them to manipulate it, you still have universities in this country. You want to go and rent a hall from them, they are writing the receipt with long hands on the paper. Nobody's doing that anywhere in the world. So there's a lot of things that we can just get rid of in terms of how transactions are carried out. At the moment we do that, we reduce the number of people who have nothing to do with this kind of transactions, and we close the loopholes that made it possible for people to steal. I propose, for example, that there should be nothing like security votes for governors, because those kind of money could go into the payment of salaries of workers. If there are security challenges in a state, let the governors pay directly into, an account for which that's.
DJ ATV. DJ ATV.
Fulani people don't say no, they don't like us. Welcome to DJ ATV.
DJ ATV. DJ ATV. DJ ATV. DJ ATV.
Some of the delegates and ask their questions.
DJ ATV.